This is different again. Why? It's changing every time. What?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness. Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back, and lingered for a minute or two. Now it's only half there. Just a kind of, tingle. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, we've been that way.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Let's try to do this properly. One last time, just to see.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean, he wondered. Desperate for answers, he began turning the room over looking for clues that might unravel the situation, until at last he discovered a keypad behind the boss's desk. But alas, no code. For this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Let's go down. Right. Attempt actually finish this game properly one last time. I get an achievement for it, isn't it? Let's go. Speedrun, lads.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Are there any more options I missed last time? Oh, lights.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Probably not, let's be honest, it's Stanley. Lights. Camera.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Yup. Very, very spooky. This is action. I guess this must be action then. Lights, camera,
This
action.
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Here we go.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Possible, I guess.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
What did you get on here? Apparently nothing. Interesting. Let's go get out this door. Nope. So sad. Another one over there. But we gotta check these things. We can't just let the game get away with us. Just fight it every step of the way. Can't get up there. Well, looks like we have but one option left. Open doors. Press 5. See what happens. Nothing. No, that's not working. Ooh. Nice. Of course, the other option here is just to turn it on.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
No, I think Stanley's been like a bit of a rebel today.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Yes.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system.
Oh, yeah.
In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until
I win
detonation
anyway.
then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Oh, nice.
It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape
We're gonna
it to your
sing,
heart's
or-
desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere
2 minutes.
moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is.
Yeah,
More time to
jig.
talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this
So,
means.
what's your
I
name?
barely know where to
my
start.
name's Jim, and I'm an alcoholic.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
Yeah, that's true.
A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
Yeah, lovely.
All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna
Oh,
die
jeez.
anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
What a fight.
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better.
I don't know.
My
I think it's
goodness,
pretty hard to
only
tell.
34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what?
you have to do is
hell
make it
with it.
longer.
I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why
Oh,
not?
nice.
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
What is music?
Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
Yeah,
Or did you
chill.
just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment.
Oh, sure, if I
But
get
here's
all
a
the
spoiler
buttons
for you.
sometime, maybe.
That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Oh, would you look at that? Stanley got exploded. I wonder if you can stop that. Don't know. Oh, we're back at the start.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Yes. Yes, it is. Let's keep going. Let's see what else is around her. Hello, I am Stanley. I write comic books. I'm here to... door.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I should... Maybe I should go this way. Let's go this way. Yeah. Let's...
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I don't understand. Go in here.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Do I have to? I guess I might. Oh well. Let's close that door again.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, we got no stairs. Let's see if there's any more choices down here or not. There's that damn car again. Fair enough.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
Yeah, it was
And then something
crazy
occurred
again,
to
aren't we?
Stanley. Maybe,
chill
he
this
thought
one
to
off a bit.
himself, maybe I am crazy.
Maybe
All
not.
of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment
I think
for
we'll,
no reason at all.
fast forward to this
None
bit,
of
won't
it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example,
back to space.
why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
no.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last,
isn't.
he came to the conclusion that had been on
Maybe
the
it
tip of his
is.
tongue.
Maybe it is.
He just hadn't found the words for it.
Maybe.
I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the
What's going
ground.
wrong? I'm flying up.
Then he
Superman,
imagined
or
himself
maybe Iron
soaring
Man, or
through space on a
someone else.
magical
I
star
don't care, I
field,
wanna-
and
I
it
wanna
too
fly.
appeared. It
Aw.
was so much fun,
in
and
space.
Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid?
Space is gone.
And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why
What would
is
that
there
be?
a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing
jump.
itself
Not
being
achievement.
considered by
Nice.
Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me,
Yeah, I
thinking
know.
about how
Upstairs.
it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
Shut up.
And while he
Confusing.
thought it all very
This is
odd and wondered if this
still
voice
not
spoke
as
to all
confusing as
people in their
Inception, but
dreams,
I like the
the
attempt.
truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself?
I wanna go to sleep.
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain,
Understandably.
beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
Maybe the voice is Stanley.
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back.
If
The
this guy keeps
fresh
talking, I
air
will
of
fall
the
asleep.
world outside this one.
And then this video would just be me standing still for
Let
ages,
me wake up,
being asleep.
he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
I don't.
Let me go back to my job.
I just want to see if there's any
Let
more
me
endings.
continue pushing
I've
the
got to find more
buttons.
endings.
Please. It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal.
No, you're
Everything
Stanley.
will be
No,
fine.
sir.
I
normal.
am
Normal is your next door
okay.
neighbour. Except you're not. Oh, look where we are. We're back where we were before. Oh, funny that. Gonna keep walking out. I wanna walk. Go backwards.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley.
Well,
I have a
see,
boss.
you got
I
it
have
right
an
this
office.
time. It's all
I am
good.
real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I
You're
must
right.
be real. I
There's
must
the
be. Can
voice.
anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Boop.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella
That's
woke
pretty
up
good.
on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that
Like that,
moment,
apparently.
she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind.
Does thinking you're
I
sane
know what is
automatically make
real
you sane,
and what
or-
isn't.
I
It
mean,
was comforting to
these are
think
deep-
this,
deep
and
questions
in a
we must
certain
ask
way,
ourselves.
seeing this man made her feel better.
There are a lot of deep questions.
But then
in
she
this game.
remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day.
Like,
The very important
meetings are
people
very
whose
important.
impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She
Is
had
she
no
going to
time for
replace
this,
Stanley, or
so
one
it
of the
was
other
only
people
a
that have
moment
fired on
that
the
she
big screen?
stood there, staring down at the body,
How do we know?
and then she turned and ran.
Fair enough, I think.